This episode of the ZuLoo Poodcast is sponsored by ZuLoo Inc., a benefit corporation dedicated to the goal of universal access to toilets, hygiene, clean water and sanitation through the power of social enterprise. Learn more at ZuLoo.com.
Laxmi, come on, level with me.
It's like,
let's be real.
I'm in a tree and there's a tiger on the ground. I'm like, it's not that crazy at all. Like, you get to see cool animals out here, you know.
To you, it's like a safari. Wow, is that a real animal? Is this a zoo?
I'm gonna be famous on TikTok, you know.
Welcome to the ZuLoo Poodcast, where we talk all things poop, toilets, and sanitation. Through insightful news, impact stories, and quirky humour, we aim to discuss and highlight the critical role toilets play in whisking poop out of our lives, the impact toilets have, or lack thereof, in the health and wellness of humanity, and what ZuLoo is doing to help solve the current global sanitation crisis.
Hey folks, welcome to the ZuLoo Poodcast. We're super excited to have you on. Excited to talk about some different topics tonight and hear some exciting stories, some heartfelt stories, and dig a little bit more into the sanitation crisis and what ZuLoo is doing. We're going to start off with our news spotlight and then move into some ZuLoo stories and go from there. So Darren, did you find any exciting stories?
You know, we found a lot of exciting stories. Just when you thought the pandemic couldn't get any worse, Costco is once again limiting your purchases of toilet paper. So that is the end of the world if you're out of toilet paper, right?
Wow.
Right? Of course.
That's what we
You've been there.
experienced.
You've been there.
Absolutely.
Not from your own choosing.
No.
This time, however, it's not consumer panic, although that was an interesting phenomenon last time around. This time it's all supply chain issues, port delays, container shortages, raw materials and ingredients, labor costs, truck driver shortages. All this is like
Holy moly.
causing issues delivering toilet paper. And so Costco is trying to make your life better and says, okay, well, you can only buy, so much. I think it's one of those big things anyway. Like, you put it on top of your cart and it's like you get 24 rolls in there.
It's huge.
But still, that some people might go through that in a couple days,
Yeah, depending on what you eat, right?
So, yeah, I know you had some issues over the holidays, right?
Yeah.
We were talking about. But,
anytime I eat carbs, everything gets crazy, and I can't control what happens down there. It loses all of its form, and it just
need
gets
the 24 pack.
messy, where it's like
you're a 24 packer. I can tell.
Yeah, I'm a 24 pack because I kind of have those moments where it's like a smear.
Yeah,
and it's like
if we're just gonna give you one roll, that's not gonna. You're gonna this is like one.
No, it's
one session, right?
It's one of those where it's like I think I should take a shower after.
Yeah.
So where you feel
You need a super bidet.
Yeah, I need. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love a super bidet.
Some places like in Europe, they've got the toilet in the shower itself. It's all one. So
wow.
Yeah, you can just take a shower while you're in there.
Sounds like a good retirement home.
Yeah,
That's efficiency.
Yeah, absolutely.
The first time I saw a bidet, it was like a separate thing from the toilet, and I thought it was a water fountain. I was like, what is this thing?
Yeah,
so it was like
you're taking a big
shot up in this nice arc.
Yeah.
It was. We were very confused as kids.
Yeah, I think I washed my clothes in one time, thinking, "Oh, this is where you."
Did you really?
You could wash my clothes. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And later I found out, you don't do them.
Because what is your first thought?
Americans, we don't know any better.
Yeah,
we're just like, man, that's a weird looking toilet.
Can you start a Ford F-150 with that?
Yeah, exactly.
We used to clean the car. But because what else would I think it was as a kid? Because you're just used to American things, and then you see
America,
a bidet. You're like, what could this be? It could have wrapped my head that it's supposed to go. The water is supposed to shoot up your butt. Like it was not on the top of my list.
Even on your radar.
That doesn't sound very
As a
American
kid,
anyway. Right?
No,
it's like. Something's wrong with that.
Yeah. This is like before Prop 8, so like I wasn't thinking about that.
Exactly right.
I'm just thinking you two are a lot more creative and adventurous than I'd ever be. I'm just don't know, don't touch.
Wow.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
better.
You know.
If you don't know
Yeah.
what
I
it
just
is, don't touch
avoid.
it. That's a better way to do it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even talk about it.
Wow.
You know?
This is
So-
this is Kelsey's way of telling us that she's like, I've never
I've never been in that situation.
Wow. Well,
I don't know when I first learned what a bidet was.
You don't know?
I don't remember.
Well, I think it's when
It-
you came
it
over. You came
probably
over to my house.
when
I think
I came
that's
over to your house,
You were
yeah.
like, "This toilet's like amazing. It's like I took a shower."
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't intend to, but
No.
you had to go change your clothes. And all that,
already-
right?
It's already what you said is false when you're like, if I don't know what it is, I don't touch it. But then you're like, I used it. So I don't know what to
I guess
believe.
that was
Sometimes
younger
you-
Kelsey.
you
Yeah.
can't-
Kelsey's
Yeah.
your
Sometimes you
mystery.
can't. You got all these buttons, and you can't help yourself. And
Yeah, she's clicking things. Yeah.
It's true.
But yeah, hopefully the supply chain issues will work itself out. It says Costco chartered 3 container ships, each ship able to carry 800 to 1,000 containers at a time,
That's all toilet
in order
paper.
to
A lot
help
of
us
toilet
get
paper.
through this little pinch, right?
Yeah, you know.
So I mean, so there's always hope on the horizon. Costco is great. I mean, they want to deliver.
No, if anyone
They
wants,
want to keep selling the toilet paper to you, but until they work it out,
well, if anyone wants to help you, it's Costco.
Absolutely.
They actually
help
care.
you with your wallet.
know.
Thank you.
Kirkland signature, the whole thing. It's
They'll
like-
even take your toilet paper back.
They will.
They probably
If
would.
you weren't satisfied with it,
If you weren't satisfied
They
with
will
it,
take
you
it
just
back.
take
They
that
don't
right
ask
back to
questions.
customer
I'll show
service.
it to them. I'm like, this clearly didn't work for me, and they're like, it's okay, it's okay. Like,
Our apologies. We'll
Yeah,
send out
this
for
is our
another
fault.
3 ships.
Well,
Yeah.
it did
send
say
you an
that this news article, and we'll put this in the show notes. This article, but it did say Costco did say that it reported slightly better than forecasted earnings for its fourth quarter last year. So
Congratulations, Costco.
making more money.
hey, good job, Costco. It's
pretty good.
You know,
We, your humble
do we-
servants, thank you.
do
We
have the-
should have somebody from Costco on the show that's responsible for sourcing their toilet paper. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh, I'd love to have the Costco toilet man.
Yeah.
We also,
What kind of deal they have with Charmin? Like Charmin, you got to deliver us.
or do they edge them out because they got their own brand?
They do have their own brand,
And-
and I've tried their brand, and
Kirkland's quality stuff.
Hey,
it's pretty good.
I gotta say
nice.
It's really. I mean, you can't tell. It's like, well,
It's the signature collection.
that's right.
Do they have like a
They need
nicer
to come up with a
version?
better logo, though. It's kind of like
Oh, I think it's
come up with something.
part of the charm of Costco. It's like
Yeah,
like
that's true.
It's like a dad,
It's a dad logo.
you know.
Yeah, true.
Like
You
it's
don't want
like,
it to be flashy
No.
and in your face.
because the men in Costco are
Because
like,
you're selling like, hey, this is value. We're not gonna.
yeah,
Yeah, there's no
We're
frills.
not gonna put little fluffy bears and little cottontail deer and stuff on there.
Yeah,
product
yeah.
sells itself.
Cottontail
with our
deer
dad
toilet
logo.
paper is bougie, but they're just like, it's Kirkland signature. That's it. It works.
It's
It's
high quality. I mean,
affordable.
what else do you want? Right?
Yeah, so I'm a fan because like think about
makes sense.
their clientele. It's like 55-year-old men wearing New Balances whose wife have dressed them, and it's like this is what they're looking for.
That's true.
I had this plaid shirt flash through my mind with the New Balance.
Yes.
It was a good look.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Yeah.
you see it, and yeah, it's nice. You're walking by, you're grabbing a sample.
It's homely.
It's awesome.
It's
Also,
true. If
I,
you're ever hungry, just go to Costco,
Costco.
during
Done it.
They've got you
during the
taken care of.
day.
I walk in there. I'm feeling like I'm getting older because I walk in and I look at their cafeteria and I'm like $1.50 for a hot dog and a drink. I'm like, oh my god! I just like it's like but the value. Like, so it's pretty.
It's true.
It's exciting.
Yeah, your money goes a long ways there.
Yeah. I also had an idea for a new segment. Can we just go through quarterly earnings for other companies?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
start
could,
talking about
we could
who's-
do that
who's
with.
having a good
We
year.
could have a financial
Sector.
update. Toilet paper profits.
Yes.
And dive into the numbers.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
See if there's any bidet scams.
Yeah.
The other article, the other news article
Yeah.
we're talking about was this unisex bathrooms. So this is Quinn. This is right up your alley, man.
Why not?
John Waters, who's the filmmaker.
Oh yeah.
He launched the Baltimore Museum of Art's first gender-neutral bathrooms.
It's got to be a while
and
ago.
I guess the
Yeah, I
bathrooms.
remember hearing about this.
The bathrooms are actually named after him. Like they're really nice.
The
really
water
super-
bathrooms.
Super fancy
Water
bathrooms,
bathrooms.
Water bathrooms. It's appropriate.
but they're not. There's no men and women. It's all just sort of, which is pretty common in Europe. I've found like you go in and there's just the washroom,
Yeah.
the wash area, and then each stall there's not like a bank of urinals or it's not like your flimsy little panels, but it's like a full on door. And, you just go in there and you don't know if men or women, trans, whatever, that's, but anyway, he made a big deal about wanting it to be that way, which, seems like it makes a lot of sense.
And that was when I went a while ago too. 'Cause John Waters, like didn't he die a while ago? Like he was like, I think of someone else.
This was in November this year.
That wasn't
2021. Sorry.
Wow. So it was a while ago. Yeah.
Anyway,
that was a long
2 months
time ago.
Yeah. Never mind. Think of someone else. I have a complete side note idea I want for a public bathroom. Do you think we could have carbonated public bathrooms?
Carbonated.
Like carbonate the toilet water?
The water is carbonated?
Yeah, like just, I don't know why. Just
That's like a bidet without a bidet.
No, just like, but it's just carbonated. It's like you sit down and it's like all the little bubbles are kind of touching your leg. I just think that would be fun.
Yeah, I'm sure in Japan they have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
going to Japan. As soon as Japan opens,
I'll go there.
We're going to
Sending
send Quinn.
Field reporter.
I mean, you could do an at-home experience now with that. I mean, just go grab a bunch of club soda.
Take a dump in some LaCroix. Yeah. I just want to know what that's like. Is that like a French thing? I don't know. Like, so that just crossed my mind and I thought I'd share it.
That sounds good. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of solutions.
No, absolutely. Says here, he says that when there were no initially there were no plans to make the toilets all gender. My ideal was just that the bathrooms would be named after me, which I thought was kind of cool.
He did want them? I'm sorry.
Yeah, he wanted the bathrooms named after him.
Oh, okay.
But the idea just naturally evolved, and
so the John Waters closet.
I talked to some women. They're not super comfortable with men in the same bathroom as them. I don't know. Is that
I think it's a valid concern.
You're a woman,
sure.
so
Yeah, I think it's a valid concern. I was raised
Catholic.
to always. Kinda.
Yeah.
To always have a bathroom buddy, like a scuba buddy.
But could it be imaginary?
So, could it what?
Be like imaginary?
I suppose. Yeah, as long as you can draw power from your imaginary friend.
So if there's like a guy walking behind you, you're like, you don't want to mess with me and Bill here. And then he's like, there's no one there. And then he gets afraid. He's like, they don't want to mess with this girl.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
It's a good tactic.
It is a good tactic.
I know that's been an issue. Like in California, there was that health club, right, where he had the trans woman that hadn't totally transitioned yet and was sort of in the women's bathroom area. And I guess half the women found that a little concerning.
I mean, honestly, I just don't personally, this is personally speaking, just don't make eye contact with anybody in a public restroom anyway. Right. So I feel like I get in, just do my business, and I get out of there.
You're not like checking people out. And
I'm not checking myself out in the mirror. No. I think like the longest I've ever spent in a public restroom is like 2 minutes. Tops.
Yeah.
Wow. You time yourself?
Well, sometimes you got to if you're worried about your safety.
Some people really have a problem with public bathrooms. Obviously, I'm a dude, so like, it's not as crazy. But
if you're my wife, she avoids them all together. She'll hold it forever.
Oh, I can't.
Until she'd rather go outside, actually, in some cases.
Wow.
Than actually go into
I can get that. A public restroom is not, men have really got it easy. If you're just, doing number one, you got no worries. You really don't have to touch anything.
Just you wait until you if you were me and ate carbs, all of a sudden it's not so easy
It's
anymore.
not so easy.
Because all of a sudden you can't hold it. I
the one
like
and the two sort of like blend together.
No, it gets crazy. like because your wife's like, I can hold it. I'm like, it's not possible.
It's not possible.
It's like the alarms are going off in my head, and then I run into a Maverick's bathroom, and it's wild in there. I love a public bathroom with things scraped into the door.
Yeah, the light flickering a little bit.
That makes me feel comfortable.
Well, I'm telling you, the John Waters restroom.
It sounds classy
in Baltimore. If you're ever there. Baltimore Museum of Art.
I'm watching The Wire.
High-end, nice experience public restroom, right?
Okay.
Because it's a public place, right?
Yeah.
So check it out if you're in Baltimore.
I'll be your bathroom
Shout
buddy.
out to all our listeners
mind.
in Baltimore.
Yeah, we have a lot of them there.
How many we have?
Yeah. Cool. I was just doing a road trip and I would hit the truck stops. And those public bathrooms are different because like the bathrooms are like there's stalls. It's not like a stall. It's like there are walls around you. It's like its own experience.
Yes.
And it sounds like this public
Yeah,
bathroom is
this
more
is
like
nice.
that,
Super
where
nice.
it's like those walls. So yeah, of course, like if you're in that bathroom experience, I don't think that it matters if there's men or women in there, because once you close that door, like no one's getting in
It's
there.
just you
Yeah.
and the toilet.
Yeah, just you and
And
your
a pleasant
porcelain throne.
experience. Yeah.
Well, it's nice that they put in so much like emphasis in. I mean, to say, "Hey, I want this bathroom named after me," right?
Yeah.
It's gotta be pretty nice.
What was it
right?
called?
Well, yeah, and there's a sense of accountability with that.
Right,
if this is
absolutely.
your bathroom, you gotta like really care
And
about.
I've seen some of the pictures.
what
I mean, there's
that's
places
like.
you could. It's actually a restroom. You can actually
Yeah.
like sit down and
your
read
feet
a
up a
book.
bit.
So yeah, what does this say about the guy who created the Porta John? You know, is that real? Is
He's
that his
all
name?
business.
Porta John.
He's like
Yeah.
bare minimum survivalist.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
He lives in Alaska.
He's in. You're in and out in 30 seconds, right?
That's
Like,
right. Yeah.
Yo,
You're not
man.
hanging out in there and
Those are
Reading a
intense.
reading a book. I tried to read a book in a porta potty once, and just got so hot in there. There's no fan or ventilation.
Oh,
Just
it's dark.
I think it was at scout camp. I was trying to avoid the
Just
little
needed
scouts
just
running
needed
around.
a little
I'm like,
moment
I just
of
need a little
respite.
moment of time, and I say, "Oh, there's a porta potty," and get in there, and okay, I'm
Nope.
just gonna read a little bit, and it's just like, man, it was like it's like a sauna,
Oh, I went.
and then
Pick your poison.
yeah,
Yeah.
No, I went,
Scouts or
I went
potties.
to a porta.
and I saw what the scouts were eating.
Oh yeah,
It
chili.
wasn't, it wasn't good.
Yeah,
Well, I think we should move on. Our next little bit, we wanted
Yeah.
to highlight a ZuLoo story. So,
Yeah, so maybe tell us. Do you want to recap it, or you just want to go? You want to just play it?
we're just going to play it. Our story will be recapped in our audio that we'll play. But just a like quick briefing, this recording that we're going to play is a ZuLoo beneficiary,
Oh,
somebody who received a ZuLoo soilet in
Laxmi,
our
right? Is
yeah.
that Laxmi.
Laxmi. Yep,
I'm saying
from
if I'm pronouncing
her-
it right.
2019 Hyderabad trip. So this is sort of her story, and
Awesome.
we're excited to get to share it with our listeners. So
Okay.
we'll head on in.
Lakshmi's story. Lakshmi recounts her experience of going to the toilet as a young teenager. I would wait until night time to try. I was too embarrassed and scared to try in the daytime. What if one of our neighbors saw me? What if a stranger followed me? There were so many tired, wide-staring eyes in our slum, and you never knew what was going through the men's minds when they were looking at you. At times I could feel their eyes burning into my back. When bedtime came, I would lie next to my mother with my hand around her waist and wait for her to fall asleep. Even though it was pitch black and I can't hear well, I could tell when she was deeply asleep because her belly would relax in my hands. Then I would wait for the clattering of our slum to calm, for the damp thumping of tired feet around our shed to stop, and for the snoring to begin. My stomach would churn. I hated leaving my mother. Stepping as quietly as I could out of our shack, I tiptoed my way towards the forest, just to the west of the slums. The smell of urine and refuse in the path rose up from the ground, a warning from the earth to go no further. Some of our neighbors were not so careful about where they did their business. I tried to feel my way forward with my feet, but I had to go very slowly. Not only was the soil covered in sewage, but rubbish, in the form of broken glass and sharp scraps from metal cans, were hidden just below the surface, and if my feet were cut, the infection would kill me. I strained my eyes, prayed, and made for the dark cloud of trees. The forest was even darker and brought its own kind of fear. My disabled senses were further impaired. The few sounds I could hear made me jump, and when I searched the darkness to find their source, all I could see were shadows. There could be dangerous animals or people lying in wait, and there was nothing I could do about it. I couldn't even scream because of my speech problems. Except for feeling the rough bark of the branches winding around me, I was totally at nature's mercy, helpless. I had a very simple plan. Once I entered the forest, I would go as far into the thick of woods as my fear would allow, find a thicket, squat quickly behind it, and try and relieve myself. The fear would make my bowels stiffen and clench. The more I tried to go to the toilet, the harder it became, leading to even more pain in my intestines. By the time I finished, I would be so anxious that I would run back through the forest, down the path, and into the tent. I couldn't never go back slowly and carefully, and I would always cut myself on the cold sharpness of the slums.
Wow. Yeah. So that story, reminds me of, I mean, she's talking about walking through the slum, being careful of where you're stepping.
Yeah.
I remember wearing flip-flops over there thinking that, we're going to be outside. I didn't want to be too hot, but I was wearing flip-flops. Even with flip-flops, I mean, most everybody, no shoes whatsoever. Right. I was wearing flip-flops, and when you're kind of walking through that area, and whatever you're walking through is sort of oozing up and over on the sides of my flip-flops, right?
Yeah.
And so my feet were, I mean, again, I could totally see how she's like, you cut your feet and you all kinds of, I mean, and this is like the broad daylight, right? Walking through these areas. And she's like talking about, going through in the nighttime and then having to run and all that, right? Because of, being fearful of all that. So anyway, I just, I sort of pictured that. Yeah. Just walking through those areas, with no shoes on, that'd be like pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and like she says, right, if I get cut by glass, like that infection can kill me. There's like raw sewage mixed with the mud, mixed with the trash, mixed with like whatever else, the dirt of the jungle. Like here it is. And she's doing this. I mean, her specific story, right, is that this was like common for her at nighttime. And so if you do cut yourself,
you don't have
at nighttime, what, you're going to like go back to the house and try to treat that, but like you don't have any supplies to even treat that with. So
you don't have Neosporin and a little Barbie Band-Aid to put on.
Likely don't even have water clean enough to rinse it off.
Right. True.
Right. So it's like just her mental and emotional capacity to try to have to answer nature's call and still face all of these things that we might consider really minor dangers or even just annoyances. I mean, it's just sort of unfathomable. Like it's difficult for me to even fully comprehend everything that's going through her mind, right? Like, okay, my neighbors and like strange men and dangerous animals and trash I'm walking through and oh my gosh, I have to go to the bathroom so bad. I've been holding it all day. Like it just, wow, overload.
Yeah. Also, when it comes to water as well, I mean, ZuLoo drilled a couple of water wells over there a couple of years ago, and and the floods. When the floods come, I mean, the floods just kind of wipe everything out, and they have to, whatever was maybe in the bushes, even if they were to have gone out away from the village and all that gets washed in down the streets. Down the streets and all of that, because there's no. There was no sewer system, right? So all of that gets compounded when her situation when it's bad weather or if it's the monsoon season or whatever, right? Just having to go to the bathroom and so certainly it's an issue, right? So I think that's a pretty vivid story that she shared.
And she's not alone. I mean, we highlight this story, but the truth is that this is the plight of many families, many women all across the world. I mean, you're likely to find somebody in your own community who, while conditions may not be that bad, are in a similar situation, such as I have to find a public restroom to use. And I mean, even revisiting, one of these news articles we didn't highlight in previous episodes was that there is in the United States right now a public restroom crisis, so to speak, that public restrooms really aren't available. Part of that's because of the pandemic, and other parts just because lots of communities felt that they were just sort of a waste of funding to upkeep. And so you think of children whose, water gets shut off at home because mom and dad can't pay the bills, or their electricity does too. And so like, where do they go? They don't have a backyard. They're probably living in an apartment. they've either got to ask their neighbor or find a public restroom. And anyway, point just being that like Laxmi's story is she's not alone.
Right.
And it's more common than we think.
To sum it all up, sounds super fun. And no, but yeah. We
are going to send you over there with the head cam.
I'll go. Yeah, I'll
that's happening.
We're taking all your shoes away too.
I'll go and see if she's lying. I'm like, it's not that bad, guys. It's not that bad.
Actually, come on, level with me.
It's like
let's be real.
I'm in a tree and there's a tiger on the ground. I'm like, it's not that crazy at all. Like, you get to see cool animals out here.
To you, it's like a safari. Wow, is that a real animal? Is this a zoo?
I'm gonna be famous on TikTok. But yeah, it's crazy. Still not quite as crazy as me when I have to, run to Mavericks when I'm holding it in, but it's a close second.
It's pretty close. Yeah. You can empathize a little bit.
I can just a little bit, yeah. But man, everyone lives a different life than you.
Well, those gas station tigers are ferocious, so you better watch out the next time.
Yeah, those lot lizards. Yeah.
I know.
It's crazy in there. Well,
I think we're kind of running out of time. I did want to highlight Rose George's book again. Let me. This is something I think we're also going to put this in our show notes as well, like where they can get this on Amazon. If you send us your email and with 2 other friends, or was it 3 other friends?
You're doing yourself and 2 friends, so 3 emails total.
Yeah, we'll actually send you a copy of this book. We bought a ton of them just to give away.
Spread the good word.
Yeah, to spread the good word, because this is if you want to get an overview. We should probably share the TED Talk or something like that. Rose George's TED Talk.
Yeah,
as
link
well.
in the show notes.
If you want the book, send us your 3 emails, and we'll send you a copy of the book. Or if you don't have time to read the book, you can always check Rose George out on TikTok. She does a great job in summarizing the global sanitation crisis, what we're talking about. If you just send us 1 email, we'll send you also one of these, your choice, either a poo emoji or a toilet. Which one do you think is more popular?
Wow, it depends on the country.
True.
Some people may not want a poo emoji sitting around, but
there's a third way to win, a second way to win, which is you just email us a photo of your latest dump, and we will send you the book and the emoji for free. So think about that.
Yeah, we'll send you something. It may not be consistent, but we'll figure it out.
And if your poo isn't consistent, we'll send you to the hospital.
Exactly right.
Yeah. So that's what we'll do.
Thanks for joining us on today's episode. We're stoked to have you along. Follow us on our social media channels, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and links to all the things we've talked about in the show notes below. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to the ZuLoo Poodcast. Follow us on social media at our links in the show notes below. To learn more, visit our website, ZuLoo.org. If you liked the podcast, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. For even more ZuLoo fun, send us an email with your toilet stories to podcast@ZuLoo.com for a chance to be featured on the podcast. This episode of the ZuLoo Poodcast is sponsored by ZuLoo Inc., a benefit corporation dedicated to the goal of universal access to toilets, hygiene, clean water and sanitation through the power of social enterprise. Learn more at ZuLoo.com.